Hello and welcome to 10 Very Big Books, a Malazan read-through podcast. My name is Peter Bond. I've read every book in the main series. However, my co-hosts are reading the series for the first time. With me today is my friend and closest confidant, India Jones.
Good morning.
Our producer, AJ Fileri.
Good afternoon.
And he's as confused and curious as everyone else by the science and inspiration behind Shirk's Utulu. It's Joshua Dean Baker.
I do have a lot of thoughts on, like a lot of people are in a way controlled by their genitalia. So it's a very interesting, sort of representation of that with like a literal physical beast. Now here's my question though. Is it in the previous organ that took care of that business? Do they have to, is it like where is it?
I want to thank Lady Spanalot for sending in that intro. She sent in a few other great ones, and if you stay after AJ's outro, I'm going to read them all. I think it's a little treat.
Yeah. They're great.
However, I will say AJ sometimes puts little mix clips out on after the outro, and one time, but it's very unfair that he has final cut. One time I got AJ to say that OJ is innocent on the show. I put it in the script notes, he read it, and I caught him, and I got it on tape, but he didn't put it in the show because, busy protecting his own reputation.
I thought you were going to talk about the one where I had you eating yogurt, and we got messages from people that were like, why the fuck was Peter eating yogurt on the podcast, you monsters?
I mean, that's just quality audio. I do want to circle back, though, because it makes sense, because I remember that day, and he had a shirt on, and it just said the glove doesn't fit, and I was really confused prior to the recording about the context of that shirt.
Well, the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit, as is well known.
Jesus Christ.
That's fact.
We are too young to be talking about the OJ trial.
None of us think OJ's innocent, so let's all continue.
Before we start, Peter, confirm you have the right mic on your recording interface.
Please, for the love of God.
I do have the right microphone in, and it's time to drop into a surprise pronunciation nation.
Oh,
no.
Shit.
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, I love that. Can we get some bassoon, AJ?
There's bassoon. Listen to the fucking podcast, Josh.
I've never listened to a full episode.
God damn it. Oh. Hey everybody, producer AJ here, editing the episode, hopping in to have my own little correction section. I mistakenly sung the correction section song instead of the pronunciation nation song, because it has been such a long time since we cared about pronunciations on this show. So without further ado, here is the correct pronunciation nation song and the rest of the episode.
So a new listener named Christian, I think, is catching up with our show. So he's been tweeting at us and talking about some more recent things, from first, second book. And it seems like he's about halfway through Deadhouse Gates, where Fiddler uses this magic conch,
Okay.
That I believe, who blesses it, gives the magic conch to Fiddler. It's, gives the...
Oh, the Tano Spirit Walker.
That's who it is. I came to it.
What the
I want to say India was right on
is.
it. I thought she said Tano, and then I just had the last word.
I didn't hear her. Oh. Anyway, so here's the big news. So he tweets us and say it's pronounced conch.
What?
I think that's a regional thing.
I've heard both pronunciations.
Yeah, I think it's like Van Gogh versus Van Gogh. It's like, depends on where you're from.
I think, I guess, I see what you're saying.
I looked it up. Apparently, it's an American English thing.
I was just
Americans,
gonna say, man.
Oh, it's like
we're American.
like aluminium or
Well, apparently us Americans are supposed to say conch, but I've literally never seen conch in my life.
I will say this: the reason I say conch is directly related to the SpongeBob episode, The Magic Conch, where they have the thing with the pull string and it just says bullshit.
Yep.
That is where I get my pronunciation of conch from.
Yeah.
People eat that, just saying.
Well, there's probably a mussel inside, right?
It's a delicacy.
Yeah, I'll fuck up a mollusk any day of the week, baby.
While we're in this pronunciation nation, I would like to... There was one from the last episode we just released where we said Shelthalore a lot, and it's Sheltathalore is her name.
And then they also corrected the Suckle Andaloo, the dapple one. I think one of the parts was silent.
Suckle Onkadu. No, I think it's spelled the way it sounds, but we just were very confused about it. So
yeah, that sounds like me.
Keep sending in your pronunciations. Maybe we'll make a channel in Discord just for pronunciations.
No, that just sounds like it's going to be all fighting.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, I had another intro I wanted to get to, but I guess we'll do it at the end.
Okay.
Let's get started with the show.
Okay.
Chapter 12. Tehol sends Bug out on several errands. First to the quarry, and to Shirk, and then to the Ratcatchers Guild. In the palace, Bryce is examining the recent disappearance of thousands of people. Tehol had pressed him to investigate this, and Bryce wonders what Tehol is up to. Bug enters an old tomb where Shirk is hiding out along with Harlist. Bug speaks to them about the history of the tomb and of the Four Colosseal and other elder races. After Bug heads off to the Ratcatchers Guild, they schedule a meeting for later that night. Khan meets with Bryce and talks about the dolmen. One of the tiles had been bound, and the Sita believes the Azath house has died. They talk more about the tiles, and the Sita is scared. Additionally, the Northern Envoy is unreachable. Bryce sets out then to investigate the Azath. At the quarry, miners have accidentally released an ancient creature. As Bug comes to investigate, a Jagged arrives, saying that she was the one who had imprisoned the creature long ago. The creature is a demon called a Calibral. The Jagged offers to imprison the creature again, and Bug has a suggestion for a new place. Bryce comes to the Azath and finds Kettle. She has lost count of those she killed, but it was not enough to satiate the house. She says Bryce must speak to the prisoner in the Azath, and Kettle leads him there. Suddenly, Bryce finds himself with a stranger above a great and strange city. The foreign city sprawls out, and the sky is lit up with objects falling down upon it. The stranger explains that a god is coming through a wound into this world, coming to destroy Kalor's empire. They speak more about empire and tyranny. The stranger criticizes Lether and tries to warn Bryce about where he could find hope. Bryce returns then, and Kettle speaks with him, but he is still confused about the stranger. Kettle suggests he must bring the stranger 2 good swords. Bryce agrees and sets off to find the Sita. Tehol goes to his appointment with the Ratcatchers. The building is swarmed with rats, and Tehol is well aware the guild also deals in thievery and assassination. Tehol offers a contract for them to move tribal refugees out of the city. He wants to know about their investigation into the many disappearances, and he wants protection for himself. Tehol and Bug both suspect more than one of the Ratcatchers are merely illusions. Bryce consults with the Sita about the Azath, and they go to Kurakan's private armory. Inside are several enchanted swords, and Bryce takes the 2 and plans to deliver them to the Azath. Finally, Tehol and Bug return home after a hard day's work.
Pete, you left out the part where Breeze does some municipal budgeting.
What?
That and you know,
There's
to
just
bring
a
up
bunch
the
of
budgeting
talk
thing
with Breeze and the Seta talking about like, oh, this would be 2 peaks for the bridges.
What I think's so funny about the budgeting shit is like sometimes, you know, later in this chapter, other stuff, you know, like meteors destroying empires, sky keeps of dinosaurs, and then like also we have scenes where people are like, the budget, I'm sorry, we just can't crunch. I crunched the numbers, we can't do it, boss. You know, I just think it's fucking funny, bro.
It is.
So that's, I guess, our intro into discussing Chapter 12, which is the first of our 4 chapters this week. And India, so in our discussion throughout the week, there was a lot of talk about Bug and about focusing on him as kind of a mastermind or maybe having a larger hand in the operation than maybe we first thought, especially since a lot of the time we're talking about Tehol since he's one of the brothers. So I wondered what you think about Bug and what he's up to in this chapter. At the Ratcatchers Guild, he meets this Jagat, and then there's this monster thing. So what do you think of this manservant?
I think that Bug really could be up to whatever he wants because Tehol just kind of sends him out and says, okay, well, go do everything. I'm going to take a nap. And he's popping into where he's supposed to be, but who knows what other things he has his little paws in. I don't know. And then sometimes I feel like when I'm reading it, maybe I'm just confused, but Tejo will be like, oh, why did you go there? And he was like, well, why wouldn't I go there? And it's just like, what are you not telling us, Bug? So
you think he's hiding something?
I don't know what he's doing. I can't freaking tell.
I feel so strongly that like Bug has got to have one of the best backstories in the series, but I know Steve enough to know that there's a pretty good chance we'll never know that for certain, or like we'll just keep getting hints. But that's like we'll
either never know, or what's that? Book 6 is just about Bug.
Yeah. Feels so on brand.
People what they want.
If we don't know, I'm going to start a petition to get a full Bug series if he lives through the end of this, or a prequel Bug series. I love him.
I like when he poked the rat people in the eyes.
Yeah,
that was good.
Oh god, that was so.
That was just it's just funny. I just thoroughly enjoy the humor of it all.
Yeah. It's, again, as I've said before, very Vocalane and Corbo Broach side books.
And nobody gets murdered, which is great.
Yeah, it's true. No one's getting sacrificed to make terrible homunculi.
Yeah.
I mean, for the record, Kettle's mad murdering people,
well,
but
we're talking about
they
It's
don't
cute when
tell.
she does it.
What'd you say?
It's cute when she does it.
It is cute when she does it.
No, you're not wrong.
See? No,
Okay.
PB, everyone agrees. It is. She's adorable with little worms in her hair. Love it.
Kettle more like cutel.
Josh, I think we've talked before about a certain level of mystery or confusion around what's exactly going on with Tail and Bug's plan. This week, we kind of see him at the quarry. There's this demon. He goes to the Azat. Like, there's all this stuff. Do you have a clear plan of maybe what these puzzle pieces are doing?
I mean, I feel like I know what the puzzle pieces are, and I have put some together, but, like, I wasn't given the box. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't given, like, the picture that I get to, like, build off of. So I'm still just kind of like, I got some here. The edges are nowhere near done.
You can tell there's going to be a dragon.
I think you make an interesting point, because a classic part of like a heist narrative or a plan, like there's a whole plan narrative that is often like, you know, the mastermind will describe the plan, and then kind of the satisfaction of the story is seeing it executed kind of to perfection, and then there's like some turns.
Yeah.
And this is not that.
No.
We are wading through the mystery. You know, we are a few steps behind Bug, who's a few steps behind Tehol, maybe.
I don't know. I really enjoy it. At best, though, all I can see with my very, very limited knowledge of stocks and such is it's...
Oh, drop that stock knowledge on me, baby.
Finance boy.
Mad Money with Joshua Baker.
I've got none. Anyway, it just feels like he is, I guess, making a company that is rising fast, and he is playing the stocks to feel like they're selling like hotcakes, right? And they're very highly coveted. But the problem is he's just selling hella more than exist, which means people are buying things that don't have a market value. But more than likely, the overall stock trading place, they probably have to honor that stuff. So if he does that enough, they'll probably just get destroyed when they have to pay the debts when Bug's company disappears entirely. I guess maybe that's their plan. I don't understand a lot of the other stuff, though.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I just thought they were buying properties at this point.
No,
they've bought properties. Bug has been officially contracted by the king to fix up the Eternal Domicile wings that have been flooding.
Right.
Oh, the shitty place that killed the children.
Yes.
What?
Right?
No.
The whole building collapsed, and it was a school, and then all the kids died in it. And now they're rebuilding it.
Yeah, he's using that. Yeah, that's their base of operations, and that's where Shirk is and stuff. But the Eternal Domicile is like, remember where Breeze is like in
with
the water,
rats under the
with
water.
the rats. Yep. He's fixing that, and because of that, they're getting such acclaim that like people are like, we want to invest in this company or some bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah. Later in a later chapter, they say they've sold like 4,000% of the shares or something.
Can I start a new segment? And it's called,
Of course.
Do we need
Our
to
show loves having new segments, but not consistent segments.
I like to start a new segment, and this segment's called Josh Poses a Question. Do we need the stock market? If we just like stopped it,
Yeah.
Probably fine, right?
Yes.
Like, would just stop selling stocks.
Yeah, businesses would still happen.
Josh, I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
Right?
The stock market is a rich people's game. And
All right, someone who's smart, please explain to me. You know what? Actually, never mind.
I was gonna say, Josh, you are.
I don't want that. I'm good. Someone who agrees with me, tell me I'm right, please. I prefer that.
There we go.
That's what
I
the
agree with you,
internet's
Josh.
for, baby.
so
Thank you,
funny.
India.
Well, Ange, here's what I want to ask you. You know, we met Calm last book, but Bug goes in and he's in and we learn a little more about the Forkroll Assail, you know? And I would say out of the elder races, they are the one we easily know the least about.
India and I
I'm
actually
gonna
had a
need
phone
you
call
to
about this.
rewind and explain to me what that is, because I'll know what it is once you tell me, but the name means nothing.
You don't know that much. I was curious about if it was leaving any impressions with you, or I mean, because I feel like usually we've been hearing about them. We heard a little
Josh,
bit more about them this book.
Told me about them on the phone, correct?
Yes, yeah, that's
The
what we were talking about on the
underground
phone. Yeah.
I have me and Josh had a discussion about this already. So I don't know how I feel. I have no real idea, and I don't know if they were brought up again in the chapter 15. So to be honest, I know nothing. I believe that they lived underground in that little thing where Kettle was, and they were very strong.
Yeah, there was like a.
I have no thought. What am I supposed to know though? Like, what is there to know? Did they? I don't know, and I don't want to say anything because then I'm going to feel dumb when it's wrong. So I'm gonna pass this question off to either Josh or AJ because we need to talk about chapter 15 before I have any true feelings about it.
Well, no worries. They're still mostly a mysterious thing. Although we met Calm last book. That's kind of the thing that Karsa thought
Calm?
when
Calm, remember Delum Thorn got hit in the head by the creature under the slab? Yeah, we did. We talked about this.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're very tall, got 4 arms.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
they don't have 4 arms.
They
They have 2
forearms.
elbows.
Yeah.
So their arms are really long and they bend twice.
I just want to say you
Holy
said that like it was such a casual thing. He's not right-handed. He's ambidextrous. That's the tone you just took with that explanation.
They've got 2 elbows. I just assumed that the double elbows meant double arms as well. Shit.
No, it's because it's just the best fucking thing. And when drawings of them are the best. They're all just like really just like
Okay,
Slenderman
wavy
looking.
inflatable tube man energy.
Don't Google
I'm just going to go to
Forkroll
images. I'm just going to images. And no.
How do you spell that?
Do they have 2 knees? They do have 2 knees.
Yeah, bro, of course.
Oh,
bro.
no. Oh, but the one knee is like an some of these pictures I don't like.
All right, anyway, to get us back on track, I'm going to turn to everyone's favorite producer on the show. How are the bars?
God.
How are the levels? AJ Valeri.
These elbows are awful.
The elbows are really bad.
Anyway, the bars are fine, I think. The elbows are bad, though.
Oh, no. Oh, Calm. Oh!
Why is the image come to you?
Because I don't know. I think because now I remember that it was
Okay,
a
we
woman.
got to get back on track.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on them, since we've been hearing a little bit more about them in this book. But,
Yeah.
So there's there's a long sequence in this book, in this chapter. Bryce comes to the Azaf.
Oh, God.
He talks with Kettle.
Yeah.
And then there's this, he talks with this stranger. We see Kalor's empire. There's all this mythic lore. And, what was your takeaway from all of this? How much did you chew on this?
I was so confused that entire part where he's in the Azaf. I think I read every paragraph like 2 or 3 times, just to really I was just so confused. But I don't know. It's cool. He was talking to a god or something, right? He was talking to whatever's in the tower. The thing that Kettle talks
Whatever
to
it
later.
is.
Is that the same being?
Josh?
Yeah, it's the same being as what Kettle talks to.
Okay.
I mean, presumably.
Pete, why couldn't you just say yes?
Well,
Okay, all right, fair enough.
All right.
Maybe it's not.
I assumed it was, but it totally could not be.
Yeah, well,
I
because
don't
she
know.
said that later, Breeze brings the swords for this
Yeah,
creature.
Breeze brings the swords, and like she asks the guy, or she says to the guy, "Doesn't it suck that she's got you by the ankles?" So it should be the same person.
Well, I don't know, because then she talks to that creature like, "Oh, Bryce brought the swords," and he said that he's just going to dig for him. But I don't know, I'm confused. Anyway, it was wild. There was some crazy magic stuff. These collection of chapters, there was 2 parts where I remembered how fucking crazy magic is in this world, and this was one of them, where it's just like, oh yeah, there's like 7 or 12 mages or something, or 7 or 12 of them. They never say like mages or whatever, but I assume they were casting some big ritual spell that like blended them all into one big magic ball or something.
That's when they put down the crippled god.
Yeah, but what are the 7 and 12? 7 people.
They're just mages. They're mages from the first empire or a different empire that called in the crippled god.
Yeah. So it was still this fucking crazy magic shit, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just bonkers. Just bonkers.
I think they all die. I think
They did. They all died. They say it matters not. I don't know. And part of me is like, oh, this whole series is all about cycles, so maybe that's going to happen with Quickben at some point because he's got however many mages inside him. I don't know.
Forgot about Quickben.
Yeah, so it's just like absolutely buck wild shit. I had no idea what was going on, but that's kind of my grasp on it. Neat stuff. Breeze goes and gets some swords. That's all I got.
I loved the scene of them just talking about cursed swords.
Oh,
and
that
how
part was
all
great.
Swords are cursed or some bullshit. I was like, what are we talking about, guys?
Yeah.
It was funny.
Yeah, hold on,
Big
wait.
fan.
I did put an eyes emoji in my notes for some reason. Oh, right, because Breeze leaves out. He doesn't
mention Kettle.
He doesn't mention Kettle, and then at the end of that section is a crossroads was reached, and then inexorably a path was taken. So
yeah, him and Troll both have moments, and Sarah and Padak all have moments of like a pivotal choice, and them immediately reflecting like, huh, that was a choice I made.
Yeah.
How you pick up on these things is so beyond me.
I take notes.
That's true.
Don't take notes.
I liked the end of that chapter though, when he didn't tell Kettle, and it was like he didn't say that Kettle was dead. But then I think it was brought back up later on.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, India. It did sound like I don't know, it sounded like the Sita knew more than I thought Breeze told him, but whatever.
Okay, I have to come forward with the truth. I cannot tell a lie.
That's not true.
I thought you guys were... So, like, we come back to Kettle later on in chapter 14. And at that point, I wrote in our script notes the identity of who this person is, Because I thought we collectively knew.
Oh, my God.
We don't know shit about this person other...
No, I removed it because I thought we put the pieces together, and like this week we were all going to roll up like,
No.
Okay, well,
India, do not go looking for.
Well, okay, wait. Is it
okay, well, let's think about what
two
we know.
swords.
We know
scouted
that
there, but I had 2 swords. Everybody had 2 swords.
Wait, are you telling me that I'm supposed to know who this person is that's talking in the
Should we have put the pieces together on who this fucking mystery person is?
Maybe we should talk about chapter 13. I'm just glad I got the edit in before I ruined it for my
You're
friends.
so
Only to think about this
annoying.
now.
I'm glad that none of us got it, though, because usually, like, at least one of us will pick something up, so I don't feel as dumb.
Was
Are
it
you
Silch's?
That's why I was kind of like... I was kind of like going around the circle. I thought someone was going to be like...
Was it Silch's Ruin? I kind of wondered if it was him a little bit.
I think it might be Silch's Ruin, but I
don't even know
because
who
I feel
that
like
is.
I feel like Silch's Ruin had 2 swords in the prologue, and he's all white, and he's like known for being like ivory skinned rather than the normal skin color for Tisty Andy.
Yeah.
But I didn't assume. Oh, and they do put him somewhere, so I guess it would make sense if they brought him to the Azaz house to be held. But I didn't think about that in the moment. That's just like a 20-second guess.
Yeah.
I would like to know.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, you would like to know, period. There's just so many times in this book where they've talked about swords, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be Silch's Ruin, and it never is. So I'm like, okay, well.
See, it's tough because in the beginning, they're not fighting the Forker LaSalle, right? I'm pretty sure they're fighting the other ones whose names I'm struggling with. Yeah, I know the reptilian guys from book 3. The Kachin Shema, right. They're killing the Kachin Shema, so I didn't assume that this had any connection.
Yeah, because why would Steve connect things? Oh, I don't know, man.
Oh, and now Silch's Ruin, who in a very short time will know the eternal prison of the Azath. Woo! Nice job, 20-second guess, Josh. That's straight from the prologue. It is Silch's Ruin.
Got it.
What the fuck? Where did you find that?
In
I
the
just
prologue.
turned to the prologue and got lucky.
Okay.
Josh is. I feel weird now because I feel like I kind of led you to it, but like that's
well,
right. Yeah.
okay. I'm just gonna go out and say, A, I didn't know who that was, and I did read it, and B, I'm not excited by this reveal.
I'm curious
we'll
about
have a chance to talk a little more Silch's Ruin because he and Kettle have another conversation in chapter 14.
Yeah, they do.
But I think it's time for us to keep the conversation moving, and that means it's time to thank our lovely, lovely Patreon people. India, do you want to...
Wow.
A warm and loving thanks to C, Scylla, Edward, Miriam, Kristen, Julian, Lalit, Ross, Rickard, Randy, and John. Love you so much.
Thanks, y'all, so much for your contributions. We are now over $500 a month, which is wild. It's really great. I said in the end of the last episode, or 2 episodes ago, I guess, that we can now pay contributors to the show. We can now reimburse us for books and microphones and stuff. It's just very cool stuff. Thank you so very much. And now we will get into chapter 13.
Rulad rapes Mayen. Udanas watches, Featherwitch beside him, weeping. Featherwitch lashes out at Udanas, and they argue about Rulad, and she leaves. Hol confers with Baruch and Saren. He says he has found more evidence of reptilian beasts, and they speak of the Edur worshipping dragons. They go to meet the first eunuch. With the delegation, the prince is arguing to attack the Edur. The prince also wants to arrest Hol, but he is under the protection of the Edur. They go to meet with Rulad. Nifidus wishes to negotiate with the Edur, but Rulad rejects the Lether, and war is declared. The Lether are then dismissed, except Hol and Saren. Baruch's goods will be confiscated, and the pair have 3 days to leave Edur grounds. Hol swears himself to the Emperor Rulad. Garen speaks with Saren about Hol, and he suggests she returns to Lether. Garen thinks the Edur do not pose a threat, and speaks of the other tribal people the Lether have conquered. Saren thinks the Edur could win, but Garoon believes they will lose either way. Hol offers information to Rulad about Lether and their military tactics, then is dismissed. Rulad speaks to the Warlock King about the Lether, and then his body spasms in pain. Udanas believes the sword will let Rulad control the Andi spirits, and he orders the Narek to be respected. Troll feels lost and doesn't know if he can stop what's happening. He speaks with fear about Rulad, madness, and what they must do. Fear warns Troll that his thoughts may be treason, and Troll says he will hide his doubt from others. Rulad dismisses all but Udanas, and the Emperor asks the slave to remind him who he is. Udanas calls the Emperor flawed, imperfect, and indebted. Rulad shudders, and Udanas orders slaves around. Troll and Saren speak for just a moment, and then say goodbye.
So, Inge, we're back with the Tist Eater, and it starts with a pretty horrifying scene of Rulad and Mayen together, and Udanas and Featherwitch watch him assault her.
It was my understanding that she kind of liked it.
At the end, she was like, kind of like, well, I guess.
Yeah, she forced
herself.
It
was weird to read, though, as
That's
a
what it
dude.
said, Peter. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm just reading the text.
Yeah, that is what it said.
It literally
I would not
said, and
describe
he even
it
was
as
like,
that.
oh, I expected more from her. I expected her to hate it the whole time.
That's why Featherwitch was so upset, was like, well, one of the reasons, there were many, But one of the things is they were like, yeah, I think they alluded to Featherwitch being upset that Mayen was kind of like, well, making the best of it.
Yeah, because we see Mayen later, and she like is like horrified.
Oh yeah.
So Mayen. We see her later, and she's just like
despondent.
Yeah. She's just kind of given into her fate, which just fucking sucks. So I wouldn't say she was necessarily into it. She's just kind of working with what she has to. I don't know. It's
all I'm saying is it sounded like a finish for the both of them.
I believe you are mistaken, and I think you are maybe referring to this line as if she had found a spark within her that she could flame into proper desire, perhaps even pleasure. Then as he released, that spark flickered and died.
No. Yeah, but then they do it again, and she continues.
On.
Yeah, but it's later and they say the spark came back.
Keep going.
But
I'm gonna have to revisit the passage. I feel like I had a different reading of the time. So,
India, I don't think I don't know.
Go ahead. What was the question though, PB?
I guess I was just curious what you made of the scene, but I think we're kind of in the midst of this.
I was disturbed by the scene, mostly because I wasn't expecting his penis to be covered in coins as well. That seems a little personal.
I thought they popped off.
They did pop off.
So 4 of them popped off. And I mean, if there was only 4.
I don't know. I've imagined the coins like pretty big.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess you gotta find humor in the darkness to keep going, but...
You do. No, that was weird. But, yeah, I thought it was weird. Featherwitch, I don't know why it was just... I guess it was disturbing.
I can't pin... Okay, you know about Featherwitch? I don't know if I can't... I'm finding it hard to sympathize with Featherwitch because I feel like in every scenario, she is doing the worst thing she could be at that moment. And I get it. Shit's difficult right now. I totally get that, Featherwitch, right? But, like, you are still a slave, and you're still a slave, period. At any moment, someone can be like, all right, you're a bit much, and murder you. Like, you need to play it cooler in some way.
I think Featherwitch is super selfish. Everything's about Featherwitch. Why are you crying, Featherwitch? Why are you crying?
Yeah, that was a weird thing. I don't know. The way she still treats Udanas.
Well, I don't know, India. I think that's just kind of like empathy, right?
Good thing Mayen's not crying is all I have to say.
Okay, I'm gonna put an end to this part of it. I found I think you were right and I was wrong in some narrow way, in that later on in this passage it returns and it says Udanis watched her search for that spark of pleasure and then find it.
Right. But I don't think necessarily.
However, I think I would still characterize it a little differently than you did, India. So
what did I say other than she ended up being like, okay, yeah, we can both do this. At the end of the day, it's not wrong that she ended up finding pleasure in something horrible. In fact, it's probably better that way.
I don't think that
as opposed to just being miserable the whole time. Is that what we would prefer? That's the question.
I don't know if that was the argument.
I don't know, Inge.
What do you mean?
Because I don't think it matters whether it's right. I don't think it matters whether it's right or wrong for her to find pleasure in something. I think it's, you said the way you're characterizing it is like, shit. She's thinking like, yeah, we can do this, but it's not we can do this. It's like, okay, I have to do this, otherwise I am going to like. You know,
that's true.
Die.
There's not like there's no. She can't not engage in this. That's true, AJ.
Yeah. I think it's out of obligation, not out of like, oh yeah, I can get behind this. I think it's like, oh, I need to get behind this, or because it's in my best interest too.
In all fairness, there's just no way to complete yourself if you're not really into it. That's all I'm saying. Is it wrong that she ended up enjoying it?
That's not what we're saying, though. We're not saying that it was wrong that she found enjoyment. We're just saying it wasn't because she wanted to.
You can't. How do you enjoy something that you don't want to enjoy?
You force yourself to do it. Like you find the thing in it that you need or that you can enjoy, and you make yourself have to enjoy that part. You just don't think about the specifics of it and stuff. It's there's a lot of mental gymnastics I think happening for her, India. I think you're oversimplifying.
I think I disagree.
Fair enough.
I will say this. I think we talked about it in House of Chains. I think overall I'm pretty critical of how Steve portrays sexual assault sometimes, but I do want to give credit. I think this is actually a really powerful scene, and I think it like really brings the horror and is about this experience and is a true nightmarish passage to read. I think it's a really powerful layer and really layered sequence about, and I feel like every character in the scene is going through something really different and is interpreting the events in a different way. I think it really means different things to Featherwitch. I think Mayen is characterized, and it means something different to her, it means something different to Adonis, it means something different to Rulad. I think it's a really interesting scene and is really anchored in this main motif at the beginning of the chapter about the distance between the emperor and the slave. And I think that's getting into pushing a major theme for this specific chapter about who is made to do things and the forces that act upon us, you know? So I think it's a really well written scene. And although obviously we're kind of getting into this debate about how India described it, I ultimately feel, you know, I don't want to say I feel good about the scene because obviously it's terrible, you know, but I think it's a really layered, complicated scene. And India, I think for me, where my disagreement with how you would describe it is, I think sometimes in discussions around sexual assault, like, and then the woman ends up liking getting raped is like a really problematic narrative that gets pushed sometimes, and I think really fuels into some really negative talks around sexual violence, of course. And I'm sure we're all in agreement about that. So I guess I'm just that's where I was kind of worried about that.
That's a weird that's a weird, didn't think of it that way.
What do you mean?
That's gross. When you say it like that, that's gross. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I agree it's gross, but
I didn't even think of it like that.
Yeah, it's definitely gross, and it also is definitely written extremely well, I think, to show like you said, Pete, everybody's going through different things in this section, and it's just really, really, really horrific. But I think maybe now we should move on.
And to be honest, I think her finding pleasure or not finding pleasure in it is like part of the complicated theme of like this, you know, it's a very morass chapter, and like, I don't know. But, and so I'm not even objecting to anything. I just, the energy is so heavy, you know, and we gotta, I don't know.
Yeah. And so, okay, not to make direct comparisons to Mayen doing what she has to do mentally to get through this. I think in a way, everybody else is also doing something similar to this, like Trull and the Warlock King and all this stuff. They are all like, well, it's a shitty situation, but we have to do what we have to do to, you know, get through this and survive this and stuff. And so I think obviously Mayen's is way more extreme than everybody else's, but I think in a way, everybody in this Edur clan is kind of performing some similar mental gymnastics where it's like, okay, well, this is the situation we're in, so we have to make the best of it.
I think that's a really great point, AJ, and I think that's what I was trying to get at, in that it's really linking back to this opening passage about the distance between the slave and the emperor, and the obligations we are following and what we have to do, you know? But that's obviously not to marginalize her pain, because I really don't think you could read that passage and come away thinking that, you know, I mean, I guess Rulad's doing what he has to do in some ways, but like, who is really the victim here and who is really bearing the brunt of this act, you know? I think it's kind of unquestionable that Mayen's pain is kind of forefronted in that passage.
Yeah. Let's move on, Pete.
So,
we talked about that for 10 minutes.
Josh, how you doing over there?
Yeah, I'm just here.
How's Hull, Baruch, Saren? Do you wanna bring us out? You know, I'm glad we talked about that. It's obviously a big part of the chapter, but you know, Josh, bring us out of this. Bring us out of this zone.
So we go on and we see some very Lether-centric conversations after this. We've got whole Baruch Saren, and then we've got some stuff with the prince's whole group. What do you want me to do? I mean, I already read it all. What do you want me to say?
I don't know, bro. What are you feeling? I just I'm passing the basketball. It's just for a moment, you know.
Okay. Well, I guess what I'll say is I enjoyed that Nifidas isn't an idiot. I really do enjoy competent characters, especially when there are dumb characters that the confident character is able to just be like, and this is them, ignore them now. Like, the prince was exactly what I expected the prince to be, but, like, I don't know, I feel like in most fantasy books, like, the idea of, like, royalty stops the smart people from doing the thing that would be logical, and I appreciated that in this case, Nifedas is like, hold the fucking door. Let's really try and do everything we can to not go to war, and also, Prince, we're in their village. We can't kill them right now. They would murder the shit out of us, you big dumb dummy. So I was very glad that the first eunuch is there to kind of keep the prince from doing anything too stupid.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm kind of recollecting myself. What did you think of, and it's in this chapter that Hull, like, formally, you know, it joins up with the Edur. What did you think of his decision to swear fealty to Rulad?
I mean, the specifically to Rulad thing felt bad, but, like, I mean, we all knew he was eventually going to swear fealty to the Edur, or at least in some way formally align with them. I actually want to say what felt really, and I'm going to reference something later. Like, I'm referencing that something that happens later, but, like, you know, Hull immediately starts breaking down the military stuff. And later on, people are like, he's using our outdated plans. Here's what we're actually doing. And the two plans were very not different. They think what we're going to do is preemptively strike and then retreat. But what we'll do is preemptively strike and then not retreat. But they both started with a huge attack, and it's like, they know your whole shit is that you have really good mages. Like, we're going to evacuate the cities. I don't know. Yeah. It was really dumb.
I don't know, Josh. I think if you know they have part of your plan, keeping the first part of your plan the same is a good move, because then your enemy is thinking, oh, well, they haven't modified their plans at all, so.
Right, I get that, but what we're getting into, AJ, is we're getting into that Princess Bride scene with the fucking poison cups. Oh, but then you think that I thought that we thought that you, and it's just like,
but that's military strategy, baby.
Yeah, cold iron. Let's bring it fucking back. We got some cold iron fucking generals here. I love it. Oh, I didn't miss this.
Fuck. India, I would love to get, like, a morals question for you. Like, your heart. Where's your heart at, my love? Like, so, you know, Rulad, Josh says this about, like, maybe it feels bad that he's swearing fealty to Rulad. But the Edur in general, like, maybe the cause is right. So, like, I'm curious, you know, how are you feeling about this conflict between the Edur and the Lether from a large scale kind of moral, your heart point of view? I mean, because they're going to war now. Do you mean? Like, how are you feeling about these sides, and, like, what do you make of this conflict?
You know, I can't really say which one of them is better or who I'd prefer to win, to be honest. I guess in this case, just because Rulad has to, you know, he is leading the Edur, I guess I'd have to say I want Lether to win, but really, do I? Because they're kind of fucked also. So, in all honesty, I just, you know, wish they could just get along. Come on, guys.
Sorry.
I mean,
can I just say I agree with you fully, India, but the fact that the argument we're having is like, evil demon man or capitalism? It's like, they're both equally as bad. It's just
I think I'll just have to pick what I know, and that's Lether, baby.
It is tough because, and it's funny, this is the exact same conversation basically that Tehol has later, where he's like, well, I can't destroy capitalism yet because evil demon man do gonna kill us if I destroy capitalism now.
He sure do gonna kill us.
But as soon as demon man gone, death to capitalism, baby.
Well, because Tehol knows, now we're getting into a different thing, but Tehol knows that he can't live his life without capitalism functioning in some way. You know, there always needs to be a little bit of capitalism that he can destroy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more that he can't live if he's been murdered to death by
that's
demons.
True. That's also true.
I think that's mainly what he's concerned.
Yeah.
I don't mean to totally derail this chapter 13 Edur discussion, but we just, the that episode came out, we were talking a lot about fuck, marrying, killing in the Bedics, and we talked about Tehol a lot. And I gotta say, I feel like I've fully turned around. Tehol is on my nerves all the time. I cannot stand this character. Just like, the guy needs to sit down and behave for a moment. Yeah. I just I feel like, I don't know.
I feel like
I cannot imagine marrying him. I regret ever saying it.
I fucking told you. I think a lot of it, Pete, might be coming from, we see Bug do so much in these chapters, and it's like, oh, Tehol doesn't do shit.
But I don't think that's true. I think Tehol is doing stuff, but he's doing the stuff that Steve knows. Look, I can make a lot of things sexy, right? But you know what I cannot make sexy is Tehol going to all of his agents and delivering written instructions of what they're to do that day.
Yeah, fair.
Like I don't think that one can be cool.
Fair enough.
I will say, I think it's kind of funny. Tehol's a character who's really above it all, and despite being above this whole capitalism thing, he is really a capitalist, really into, I don't know, he's really into the market.
Yeah.
I think we can all say that. Anyway,
Tehel's not even in this chapter, so.
Sorry for the detour. Oh my gosh. So, India, Saren talks with Garen Eberick about Hull and then her plans to return to Lether. What did you make of Saren's kind of last time here amongst, and then at the end she speaks with Troll a little bit?
Saren is boring, and I don't care about her feelings about anything.
Do you want to explore that a little bit?
So, with that said, I don't really care that she's leaving. I feel bad that they have to walk. And her and Troll, I don't understand what's going on.
They had a little moment.
I'm confused by it. But will they ever see each other again? What is the point?
I mean, not on the same side.
Exactly.
I think that's the point.
Are we
that's the point.
What are we doing? So, what did they talk about? I don't even remember their conversation, her and Troll.
It's very unmemorable in my opinion, and a big deal is made about what isn't said, but I was like, I don't even understand what they could else have said. Did she want Troll to be like, no, this is a mistake, I must flee? Because that's what it felt like she wanted, but that can't happen. It's his brother's the Emperor. I don't know, I felt confused
Also, where
by
did this connection, come from? Did I miss it?
I think the point, you kind of made it, is that, I think it's kind of her saying goodbye to the Edur in a way. Didn't mean she was friends with Benedis, she's trading these people, and then she comes up on this expedition. The Warlock King gets sidelined, Roulette ascends, and this is kind of a moment for her to,
So she's been here before.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. She's an quitter.
Yeah.
This is her whole thing.
I didn't know how often
she acquits.
I didn't know how often this happens. These discussions.
No.
I do.
Her and Baru. Oh, talking with Troll. I don't think she's talked to Troll a ton. But it's definitely happened.
No. I'm just confused because the question she asks is there no room left, Trellsengar? And I'm just very confused by that because I don't know what that means.
Is there no room left, producer AJ?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know
Shocking.
either.
And he says, no room left. And she says, I think you would have it otherwise, wouldn't you? And then says, forgive me, it is too late for questions like that. And I don't know what any of that means. I don't know what any of that means.
Sounds like
no wonder I don't.
Sounds like Steve. Am I right?
It sounds like Steve. I feel like that should be impactful, but I really had no idea what was happening.
AJ, so Troll has this conversation with Fear.
Yeah.
And Fear is like, yo, bro, fucking check yourself. What did you make of this brother talk?
I think every time Troll and Fear have talked in the last 4 or 5 chapters, it's been I've come away being man. Just because every single time Troll is like, hey, what about this? And Fear's like, no, idiot, it's this. And it just feels so bad that, I don't know, I guess that Fear is so bought in. He was really bought in with the Warlock King, and now he's really bought in with Rulad. And it just feels bad, Troll feels kind of, I guess for lack of a better phrase, a voice of reason here, and Fear is just not hearing it. And I mean, I think it illustrates really well the point we were making earlier about everybody's kind of just doing what they have to do to survive, or to thrive in this fucked world. But it doesn't make it feel any better.
I think one of the reasons it feels really bad to me is unlike, when we talk about Tomad or the Warlock King, I don't know. I mean, like, we can, like, these people have power in theory or wrath, but when I look at Fear, I see a character who I feel like could actually do something. Do you know what I mean? He could actually have changed what happened. He could change what's going on now. He is someone who with power and influence, but he's on board, you know?
Do you guys feel it's interesting that Fear and Breeze are kind of like parallels of each other in some ways, but it's interesting because like Fear is older brother, and I feel like he's so honor bound and tradition bound, whereas Breeze is like same thing, like the lead martial guy, but he's kind of got this like he can discern between like doing what his job would entail him to and then doing what his heart believes is right.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Interesting parallel. I'd like to think more about parallels between the sets of brothers. I haven't really thought much about it.
I think one of the most interesting lines in this part is when Trull brings up the sword and that how it's not, it's foreign and there's nothing about wielding that sword that should give any eater, power over everybody else because it's just like a sword. It's a foreign sword. And Rulad says, the sword is not but a tool. It falls to us, to those around Rulad, to hold the sanctity of our beliefs, to maintain that structure, and so guide Rulad. I feel like saying the sword is not but a tool, like from there, the rest of that sentence could go both ways. Like you could choose to see, oh, okay, the sword doesn't really mean much, but it's up to us to hold Rulad. But I mean, I guess you see it with Trull. Like the sword doesn't mean much, so why should it give Rulad power? You know what I mean? I just thought that was interesting, and how you're really seeing both sides of kind of the stem of both of their thoughts in opposite directions is the same. It has the same starting point.
Yeah, I think that's a great quote you pulled, AJ. Yeah.
So,
India, did you have any thoughts about this brother talk?
No.
Then let me ask you this. Rulad, later in the chapter, dismisses everyone. There's this council, and we can talk, you can mention that if you want, but he dismisses everyone, and at the end, he talks to Udonis, and he's like, Udonis, comfort me, baby. And Udonis says these words to him, and then Udonis, goes out, and he orders around some slaves, like he wields authority. What did you make of this scene, and how are you feeling about Udonis now that he's kind of the slave to the emperor?
I don't understand anything about his sad boy Udonis. I don't, because he's like, I'm so sad, but then he's like, I have no feelings. And then he's like, but I'm so sad. This all sucks, but I have no feelings. So he annoys me, but I like his character because, he has the inside scoop and I'm into that.
He does have the inside scoop.
Yeah.
Very true.
I don't really notice a difference in him now. Like, I know that I guess maybe I should, but I don't notice a difference between him, being directly working for the king, emperor person. I don't know, but I do find it weird how Rulad seems very confused right now. Like, he's not controlling his own thoughts, which is like, have we determined that was the crippled god?
Yeah, it definitely
was like, you're gonna live now, and
oh yeah, mm-hmm.
That's a thing.
It's like, what's the distance between emperor and slave?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know, because I'm ready now. I need to have a moment to think. I think it's really weird how Rulad can go from extreme, this is the way it is, and I know everything, to I don't know anything, and these thoughts are not my own. Wait, yes they are. Wait, no they're not. Wait, yes they are. It's very weird. I like that Udonis is able to, be his little guide, and I wonder what that's going to transition into, if he's going to, I don't know. I didn't really see anything important about him telling the people to calm the fuck down and just bring Rulad food. I don't know. I don't really notice much of a shift. I didn't know if I was I guess maybe I was supposed to. Did you?
I don't know. I feel like Udonis is almost single-handedly holding shit together in some ways for the Edur people.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know. The moment with Rulad is really crazy. I think what's more important is the moment when he goes back and talks with the slaves. I feel like that is the single most important thing Udonis has done in the books so far.
Why?
Is because he is the one who is he has a choice. And he makes the choice that he thinks the right decision currently is things are normal. this is normal. If we act like it's normal, it becomes normal. You know what I mean? Which is like not what like I just feel like that's a huge transition moment, right? Because like until then, there's the moment where they're like at the coronation where Mayen has that look and everyone's like, we'll fight this. And I feel like slowly but surely they just start convincing themselves this is what we do now. And that is a crazy shift for them. And I feel like Udanas is the one like is actively encouraging that tone, that mind shift for the slaves. And it felt crazy important to me.
I hear that.
I think that's a great way to put it, Josh.
Going forward, Rulad's just a little hungry. Just get him food. That's what we do. And it's just, I don't know.
This is
like
just the way things are now.
Yes, exactly. That is what he's telling them. I also think it's also, India though, I'll say this, it's very tough because Udanas is not the person we met in chapter 1 because he has many people, he has two competing consciousnesses in him that are like warring for his actions, if that makes sense. It's not like he doesn't know them apart in some way, but like we even see later, he's like, maybe they aren't real. Maybe I've been dreaming this whole time. Yeah. Maybe there isn't a Wyville's blood in me, you know? Like that is not the same guy we met in chapter 1 who was like, damn, I'm horny for this one person. Like they are completely different people.
All right, we're running. We're long in the tooth this episode, baby.
Yeah, this was a 30-minute chapter discussion.
Yeah, we gotta
and we
wrap
got
this
2
up.
more left, baby.
We have 2 left.
I'm glad. Listen, as I mentioned, I know we got had a really heavy discussion about, we once again. I hope we handled the conversation well. Yeah. It's a difficult subject, and we're not all experts.
Yeah, if we fucked something up in some way, please let us know.
It's just a freaking book, guys. It didn't really happen. Don't worry.
Yeah, but it's still serious. I don't know.
I do just want to point out the end of this chapter. The last chapter ended with a path being chosen. This chapter ends with the path had changed. Troll wondered
brutal.
if this one would be, so many choices proved irrevocable. Troll wondered if this one would as well. So
look at AJ.
Just got to say, good book. Good chapter, good book, having a good time.
Loving this book.
All right, let's kick it. We gotta keep moving.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Chapter 14. Bug encounters a divers called the Pack, a group of fearsome monsters living within a temple of Fulcra. They escape from the barrow, so Bug goes off to check the Azath house. He speaks with Kettle about the barrow, and then speaks about the woman buried there. She promises her things, and together they speak about the woman. Bug warns Kettle then, and leaves. Bryce is awakened and brought to the King's Council. Lether is going to war. They speak of the strength of the military and preemptive attacks. Bryce worries about Hull and thinks he needs to warn Tehol. Rucket of the Ratcatchers Guild speaks with Bug. Garen Eberic has been killing thousands of people this year. Bug is confused by this and is driven off by Rucket's advances. Tehol speaks with Shand, Rishar, and Hedgen, first about the economy, and then of their scheme. Tehol will wait to crash the economy. He is intrigued about what is going to happen with the war. He thinks they should focus on evacuating tribal refugees. He leaves and is confronted by Shirk. Shirk, Ubala, and Harlist want to become pirates. In the Azath, Silchus Ruin speaks with Kettle of the Forkal Assail. The Elder race's goal was an absolute balance. Silchus Ruin battled them along with his draconic kin. He says Kettle has the soul of a Forkal Assail in her, and that she was mortal once. He thinks she was meant to kill him, but they both believe she may be able to follow him despite this. Kettle remembers the past with the Nameless Ones and the Eris. The child has 2 souls within her. Bug speaks with Tehol about Garen Eberic when Bryce arrives. After discussion, Tehol agrees to allow 1 bodyguard to shield him against assassination. Josh, you let out a hearty guffaw at the mention of Shirk, Ubala, and Harlist's desire to become pirates. Do you not think they would take well to the Seven Seas?
I just love them, and I cherish them, and they are my favorite parts of any book I've maybe ever read, is this goofy fucking trio.
I tweeted it, still believe it. Harlist, once sharp teeth, funniest thing in this book, funnier than anything Tellbug says. Best gag in the series.
We didn't address it. We didn't address it when it happened in chapter 12. But there's literally when they're in the catacombs or the tomb or whatever, Harlist is literally like, I want them. I want to be able to hiss. And it's like, what the?
I want to be scary.
It comes up this time because isn't Shirk like, we gotta get him his teeth, and I feel like it's implied that like every time her and Oblala fuck, he's just in the background like, ooh, I would look so ghastly, and I'm like,
she's like, please get him sharp teeth. He needs to talk about something else.
Good. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have. They would be incredible pirates.
But Josh, also in the last chapter, you mentioned Tell's discussion about when to crash the economy.
Yes.
But Shanrasar and Hujin are, of course, skeptical of this, and they're worried about what their tribal refugees are going to be and whether they're going to get their kind of revenge. So what did you think of Tell's thing here, and do you think he should crash the economy now anyway?
I think... here's what blows my mind is Taeho is so informed on everything. You know what I mean? And I love that because I'm so curious to know whether he fails or not. You know what I mean? I cannot wait to see how it goes. And if he does fail, I'm excited to see what it is, because so far every common pitfall that like the smart planning guy hits, he has the information to avoid. You know what I mean? Like, he knows I should not crash the economy yet. This war is not going to be like our other wars. We need to survive this in order. Like, I love him. I want to know where he gets his info from, but I'm sure it's boring and you know, just minutia. But I love it. I also really like, I've come to realize in some ways that Shanrasar and Hajun are like the audience, it's us in the book, in that it's just three dumb people who don't understand the economy asking the questions that I have. And Taeho's like, let me explain directly to you. Wink! As he looks at the camera. Wink. You know. So I don't know. I think he's making the right choice.
It's very postmodern, Josh. I agree.
Oh my. Have you ever thought about these books are a little postmodern, Peter?
It's a little postmodern, isn't it?
It's so postmodern. Almost like Scream.
Plug that Patreon content, baby. We talk about the Scream movie and its postmodernism.
All right. Anyways, Inge, Bug goes and visits the Rat Catchers Guild again. What do you make of this organization that is a part of their plan?
Can we just all admit that the rat catchers are not catching rats? What are they doing? Are they catching rats?
They're catching rats, but they're just holding on to them.
Yeah, because in their minds, their job is to catch the rats, period.
Yeah.
You wrote in here, Peter, in one of the chapter summaries, you were like, oh, Tahol and Bug are convinced that some of them are illusions. And I read that and I was like, what? Because there were some weird questions Tahol and Bug asked, and I thought maybe it was something like some of them aren't what they appear to be, but I didn't understand that, like...
they were rats.
Yeah, wait, Josh, you didn't get in chapter 12 when Bug pokes the one in the eyes?
No, not that part. Not that part. When they are in talking to all of them.
Yeah.
Aren't some of them rats? Isn't one of them a cat?
What?
I don't think one of them's a cat.
I think she has feline eyes, so I don't know.
One of the parts, when it says Tahol goes, it was in the first chapter we read. He goes, Tahol and Bug both suspect more than one of the rat catchers are merely illusions, not just the secretary. And I read that earlier, and I was like, I didn't catch that.
I thought they did say that in this chapter.
They said something, and they were like, I wonder if X, but I didn't catch that. Maybe they were all like, I don't know. I'm very curious to know how many real fucking rat catchers there are besides the grand rat catcher boy who like swam out of the water with that army of rats around him.
Ornly.
Yeah, this is the coolest organization ever. However, I have a deep fear of mice and rats, so this is also my nightmare.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
People say rats make great pets, though. That's like a thing.
Yeah.
That's all right.
They're wrong.
They're wrong.
To tell them.
AJ, I guess we're going real scattershot around this. So
I mean, we started at the end, so.
Bug encounters some divers. What do you think's going on? We didn't even talk about the bug demon Jagut thing. What do you think about all these creatures that are hanging out in the city?
Yeah, I am I'm loving seeing the city through Bug's 1,000-year-old eyes.
How old is this dude, right?
Because when he's talking to whoever it is, and they're like, "Oh man, I bet you fuck real good," and he's like, "It feels like it's been 1,000 years." ... It feels like come on, man.
That whole conversation is the greatest thing I've ever read. I was actively cackling on my couch.
But no, I love following Bug in these chapters. He's just doing so much other shit, and he knows so much, and I just... Oh man, I want to know who Bug is so very bad. And so this thing that turns from 1 to 6, that is a divers. I didn't get that part, but that's fine.
Forgot to Ivers do that.
I just love everything Bug's doing. Talking to the Icehold Huntress, talking to this snake divers demon or whatever the fuck.
He talks to that Huntress like it's fucking nothing.
Yeah, he's like, what's up, dude? Like they've been friends for a while. Like
it's a really casual conversation for her being a Jagut out of nowhere, you know?
Yeah. It's great. I'm super into it.
Josh, I guess I didn't know you were talking about the Forkrola sail behind my back, but you were in the Azath. Kettle speaks with Still just wrote a bit more about the Forkrola sail, and we learned a little bit more about the souls inside her. So what do you think's going on with Kettle? We get a little more Kettle info, you know?
Okay, so yes, I called India because she was... This section's confusing as all get out, but from what I can understand, and I could be very wrong, is human Kettle died, right? And a ritual or something was done, and someone was they talk about the person that was chosen to go, but I forget who it is. But it sounds, I guess we know that a Forkrola sail soul is inside of her, and that person was meant to be the guardian of the Azath house, I think, which we've seen. Like they usually pick pretty beefy people to do that. But I guess did they expect that that Kettle's body wouldn't change? I don't know. It makes no sense to me. So I guess Kettle is Kettle, but there is the chance that a Forkrola sail kind of takes over her body, and that is what Silchas Ruin, as we now know to be that person, would have to kill her? I don't know. There's a lot of question marks still. I hope she doesn't turn into a Forkrola sail. Also, are they just like beyond redemption? Like, why does Silchas Ruin if you turn, I'll murder you? Like, no questions asked.
I think, because I'm looking over this section now, I think he would murder her because if he didn't, she would murder him.
But she's dead.
Right, but maybe not dead, because sometimes she's like, my heart, I feel a thing in my chest, and
like
it, it bumps and hurts, and it's like, what does that fucking mean?
It's okay. So they're talking. They're going back and forth. And Silchas Ruin says, you are to kill me once I have vanquished the other entombed creatures. And then she says that he asks, like, oh, will you do that? And she says, well, the Azath house is dead, so I don't really have to do it. But, I might still do it on accident. And then Silchas Ruin says, like, oh, well, if you come to kill me, I'm going to kill you first.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's
we
that
didn't
situation.
even talk about the Toblikai in the Azath house, Just a lot going on in that tower now, isn't there?
Quite.
Yeah. Hey, do we know, by the way, because Karst is like the product of generations of inbreeding. Is he like a lesser Toblikai, Thelman Toblikai, or compared to these assumedly purebloods? Like, would they be stronger than Karsa, or like what? Do we know? Is anything ever mentioned about that?
I mean, if they're as old as the Forkrola sail and the K'chain Shamal, they're probably fucking horrifying.
Yeah, I would assume.
So,
India, we learn more that Garen Eberict is killing like thousands of people. So, what do you think's going on with that dude?
What do you think's happening?
Have we even met him, like, personally?
Yeah, he's up north, and he was talking to Saren last chapter.
He talked to Breeze in like the earlier in the book.
Oh yes, and his brother is the one that wants the fangs.
Yes.
Got it. No idea, nothing, not a thought. Not sure if I should have one. Kind of forget about it.
He sucks.
The answer's actually still just ruined. That was a mystery I couldn't solve.
Yeah, correct. I have no thoughts on that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck is going on there. I have no idea. I hope it could be anything.
Unless we have any other thoughts, I think maybe we should move on to chapter 15.
Let's do it.
I did just want to point out, we talk about Eris, the goddess of the Nerek, living outside of time. So further evidence that the crippled god also lives outside of time in my book.
Oh, yeah. Well, and we learned some shit about living outside of time next chapter with fucking Udanas and some stuff.
We do?
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, quick question, Peter. I've said it earlier, I think in a chapter reading part. Can we assume that the person, well, I know we can't assume, but could the person holding on to Silchus Ruin's feet be his daughter that the two sisters imprisoned? AJ found the text earlier where it says that, like, they're going to bring her to where Silchus Ruin is. So is that the person holding on to his feet? And if so, like, why is she crazy and Silchus Ruin's chill?
Well, let me answer your question with a question.
Great.
Do you guys still prefer Lether to Edur, the storylines?
I prefer... the storylines themselves, not like the peoples and culture.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do. We're down to one POV with the Edur, and it's Troll, and it seems like it's going to be very military focused.
Yeah, there's boring. A lot more like fantasy Malazan stuff happening with the Edur. But
I don't know if I agree with that. We got an Azath house and some people experiencing.
Yeah, that's pretty fantasy Malazan, but we also have, like, the economy.
Yeah,
and
every
pirates.
time someone walks in the Azath house, they have dreams of, like...
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think I still prefer Lether.
Kettle doesn't know who her mom is, right?
Correct.
No.
But we can expect that it is somebody, like, powerful.
I assumed the opposite. I couldn't. Yeah. I was just like, I guess it's just some person who maybe was paid to let her daughter die or something.
I think Kettle, her whole life was to be a vessel for this soul, for the nameless one, as they call her. We finally know who the nameless one is, or a nameless one is.
Who?
It's whoever's inside Kettle.
Oh.
The Nerek witches called her the nameless one.
And we know there are nameless ones from other books, right?
Yeah.
What were they, though?
We meet the nameless ones in Deadhouse Gates, and I think they're mentioned in House of Chains. They're a cult that worship the Azath house.
Yes. Thank you.
And she's called the nameless one, so I don't know. She says, Kettle says, I guess the Eris was my real mother, and Silchus Ruin says yes. So, the Eris who lives outside of time. She wanders time in a manner no one else can even understand.
You ever notice how these books are fucking confusing?
All right, let's kick it. Chapter 15.
Chapter 15. Saren is traveling south with Buruk. Wraiths stalking them. Saren touches a cliff and hears the voices of two mistresses from the same hold. Buruk talks of Saren's debts and how she is being manipulated. Together, they reach a border town and find powerful Letheri mages preparing a preemptive strike. The mages in coordination unleash a devastating attack. Saren thinks Hull, Rulad, Trull, and the Warlock King are dead. Buruk declares that he is back in his homeland and will never leave. The next day, Saren finds Buruk has hanged himself. Trull witnesses the attack from the Letheri mages and confirms Edur's worries. New allies come to answer Rulad's summons. Their new allies are summoned demons enslaved by the Edur, along with the Jek. They serve their leader, Benaga, the Dominant. Upon reflection, Trull realizes the entire Nerek tribe was wiped out. They discuss more on how to attack the Lether stronghold at Highfort, and the Chrisnen offer their magic. They are more powerful than ever by drawing magic from the sword. Trull begins to question this, but fear scuttles it. Trull is sent along with a scouting group. The group's captain hates Trull, and together they kill a Letheri child scout. Trull feels disgusted. They cross a bridge together, and Trull sees some ancient writing from the Tusked Man. Udanas is shown more of the Letheri's past. Wither shows him about the First Empire, the Talani Mass, and the Soul Taken ritual. Featherwitch asks to go into the Dream Realm with Udanas, and then forces him there. Together, they travel inside, and in the Fiery Realm they are taken by Talani Mass to a wrecked Mekros city, ruined on the land. Here, they speak of the Edur, the Beasthold, and the Eris All. Within the city, Featherwitch admits she had witnessed Udinas's rape, and they speak of it. Featherwitch had summoned the Wyval, thinking the tiles could free her. They speak to the Imass and find a boy named Rud Alal who speaks their language. They speak to the boy who has been aging rapidly and is being raised now by the Imass. He is the son of Udinas by Menandere, and he is a draconic soul taken. The Imass show them 12 gates, now sealed by their Bonecaster, and Featherwitch realizes they are in a hold. The child tells them its name is Starvald Demelaine. Atri Pedri Yan Tovis of the Letheri army, also called Twilight, is on the coast. She sees 300,000 Edur arriving and realizes she must surrender her post.
India, you mentioned kind of being bored by Saren.
Yes.
And in this chapter, she travels with Baruch a bit. She sees a town that is attacked, and then Baruch hangs himself.
I didn't know that he hung himself, so that's interesting.
He does. So even though there was a little more action in this chapter for her,
A little.
Are you still feeling a little? Are you like cold on her, or do you just kind of find her?
I'm not cold. I just don't find her necessarily interesting. I don't find anything that she says to be interesting. I don't find any of her, like, the whole beginning of this chapter was just a mind fuck. It came out of nowhere. So instead of talking about Saren, I'd like to understand what happened with those wizards and whose side they were on, and if what they did worked, and why, if it did work, were their own soldiers being burned alive.
The mages are from Lether. It was the preemptive attack we heard about. Saren thinks it works, but later we see from the Edur point of view that they withdrew a bunch of people and the attack wasn't that effective.
But then why were their own people dying?
Just kind of caught in the crossfire a little bit.
Yeah, it was kind of a...
Okay.
Is it really...
Magic is super easy to, like, super, like, controllable until it, like, isn't, I guess.
And then but then the Edur people had actually moved all of their people out of the area, so it didn't really do anything, is what you're telling me?
They left that Nerek tribe, so now all the Nerek are dead, so they're safe from that.
All that sanctified ground, which feels like it's gonna be important.
Okay,
it's
cool.
True. I mentioned earlier that Saren's probably my favorite character in the book, you know? And I think it's mostly because she seems like the only person I would like to talk to or ever meet or hang out with, you know?
Definitely.
Like, everyone else in this book is just like, I don't know, man. I would not like to have a conversation with. That is my official opinion, so.
That's fair.
She's just, you know, I'm a Saren fan, you know? Anyway, let's unless anything else to talk about on the tactics part of that little strike there, but we see from the Edur point of view later.
No, I think I just think what's interesting about Saren in this chapter is we are transitioning from her being a point of view
within the Edur.
Within the Edur, but like a point of view of the greater things happening. And as we approach the end of this chapter, it focuses in on, now we are concentrating on Saren herself.
That's a great
it's
point.
less about the stuff happening around her, because now, especially now that Baruch is dead, like there is nothing tying her to anything. You know, she's her own person now.
I'm so curious because she's like the only one I don't know where she is going to go next.
Yeah.
Everyone else seems pretty clear.
Why does she need to go anywhere? What is her point?
Well, exactly.
Well, because she's a character.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Look, Steve could just drop her right now. I could just be like, she did her job.
After this attack, we see it kind of from the other side, and that is the Edur side, and we see Trull with them, and then all these new forces show up, and then Trull kind of fights alongside. There's this bridge attack. Josh, what did you want to talk about with this?
So I assumed that they disregarding a lot of the stuff, because I feel like it's kind of cut and dry, like the meeting the people in the army. There's now some summoned demons, which is going to have repercussions, yada yada. Trull has his own little unit that he's picked and like they don't like him, which is like, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, Troll's kind of a divisive guy. I do love the captain he has, though. I love that guy's interesting, who like went for a while and lived elsewhere, and he's got the cool sword. But anyway, the big thing is they're talking about, they see these runes and stuff, and they talk about the Tusked Man. I assume that's Icarium, because he's been all over the world, and this is a timepiece he's made, because he's always making timepieces, and they even mention that it looks like it could be a timepiece, but it's inefficient. But it's, it's because it's measuring the passing of centuries, probably, not days.
See, this is kind of a reverse thing. I thought about putting that in the notes, and then I was like, no, I'll leave it vague. Maybe they'll put it together. So it's kind of a flip thing. No, it's an Icarium OG.
When did they talk about Icarium making time things?
He's called like the Timekeeper or something. He's got like his whole thing is
time. I think it's in Deadhouse Gates.
Okay, I didn't read Deadhouse Gates.
I hate this book.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's in Deadhouse Gates, but the other thing is he is known to, when he, you know how he goes crazy mad, like happens at the end of Deadhouse Gates and like can destroy shit. I believe he's destroyed many of his timekeeping machines. Yeah,
we also see a timepiece of his in Gardens of the Moon. I think they talk more about the time stuff. It's like a big part of his character.
Fuck. What?
Yeah, they've popped up a couple times.
I didn't realize he was a, I thought the word was going to come to me as I was saying the sentence. Never mind. Horologist. Yes. I didn't realize Icarium was a horologist.
He loves clocks, baby.
Thank you.
He's a clock jock. Coined it.
Clock.
Are you proud of that? I don't know.
Clock jock's good.
Can we get some clock jock rock jams? Is that a thing we can get?
That long silence, AJ, was for you to put in the clock jock songs.
Yeah. But okay, so that's the Tusked Man. That's Icarium. Troll's got a little unit, and they're in position to, I don't know, I guess, are they supposed to hold this bridge? That feels difficult with 50 people.
Are you guys not stoked that the Edur army gets all these new allies that are like metal?
No.
I mean, it is pretty metal. Like, I don't know. Are we going to actually see them fight? So many other times we get all these cool things in the army, and then Steve's like, ha, gotcha. There is no fight. There's a ghost army. Didn't see that coming.
The ghost army.
Josh, I actually did see the ghost army coming. I had read the book before, so.
That also happened in Lord of the Rings, and it made no sense.
Let's just let that one lie, because let's just move forward.
So Inge, Udonis is once more has this kind of vision thing with Wither. There's the First Empire. They talk all about this. And then he goes on a journey with Feather Witch, and a lot happens. They go some places. They talk about the Edur. Feather Witch talks about watching Udonis get assaulted. And then they meet Rud Alal. What did you make of all of this, Inge?
I hate Feather Witch. She sucks. That's my first point. I don't get her hostility. I don't get it at all. And I'm happy that Udonis decided to be like, listen, I know how you feel and I get it, but you're wrong. Finally, been waiting for that moment. Second of all, why did she want to go? Third of all, where did they go? Fourth of all, why are the people that they saw there, the big people, how are they dead?
They're the Talani Mass.
So do they look dead? Or are they just in their like little mind world?
My understanding is that they're Imass before the Ritual of Talan, right?
So how are they dead?
Honestly, I'm kind of turned around, or maybe I don't understand your question.
Why are they dead? Where did they go? Where are they?
Udonis goes to say that they are dead, and then Feather Witch is wait, don't say that, they don't know they're dead.
Yeah, India, do you remember in Memories of Ice, they create, the Talani Mass go, or like a lot of them are able to go to like the Beast Hold to kind of like live as spirits?
Yeah.
I feel like this is similar. I don't think it's the same scenario.
Okay.
I don't know. Eris kind of lives outside of time, so it's possible these people, I don't know. I mean, it's some heady shit.
Great. Awesome. So then,
all I can get is that they are,
in this other world is Udonis's child that somehow is alive or also dead. Also, why there?
Definitely alive.
Yeah.
Definitely being raised here to protect him, maybe?
Yes.
That feels like
protect
accurate.
Who?
That's a weird spot for the kid to be.
I think
Why
it's to keep him hidden, because that's not normally where Draconian people go.
Yeah. And I don't think we're supposed to know much about it yet. I left this section of the book completely turned around, and I just kind of went, eventually I'll get it.
That sucked.
Yeah.
I was so confused. I truly have no idea what was going on there. But it was interesting, I guess, when I know, but I have a feeling that I'll never put the pieces together, and thus it will just be another part of the story. Yeah, I guess I'm confused about why the child, how the child, why they didn't take the child. I mean, I don't know. Who is the child? What's the point of the child?
The child, so Menandere rapes Udanas because she wanted to have a half draconian baby.
And there's a Wyval blood in him,
for
which
some
is
reason.
draconian.
Because and Udanas has the Wyval blood, so then that would make them more draconian.
I don't know
India. Why the kid is 7 weeks old and is like 10 years old, it looks like, or something. So it's like a Mibe, oh God, what's the kid's name situation?
Yeah.
Where they're aging super fast.
Me. What did Tattersail become? What was her name?
Yeah, I have the book next to me, but I'm not going to.
Silver Fox.
There you go.
Yes. It's a Silver Fox situation, in a way. And why? I don't know. I'm waiting for this kid to grow up and be Leoric. I don't think that's what's going to happen. But it could. We didn't see Leoric with his, I guess, would-be sisters when Osric is talking to them when they're dragging.
But Leoric's dad is Osric.
Well, that's what he thinks.
Why is
Do we have reason to believe
wouldn't his
otherwise?
name not be
No, I'm
Blood?
just saying. I just want to know who this kid is, and my mind is just like, well, if it's Leoric, then I know who it is, and so, I just don't want to think too hard about it.
Okay, I get that.
You could do this, AJ. Instead of creating a theory in which a person exists outside of time and we've already met their older form who doesn't know his real dad, you could do my strategy of not thinking about it by not thinking about it. I just went, cool, this person exists. Turn page.
Yeah. But how am I supposed to feel smart if when I'm right?
True.
So dumb.
One of the things I think is really great about this book, and I'm sure I'll talk more about it when we kind of do wrap up stuff once we're finished, is I think really the book is like really quickly paced. It's a really streamlined book. It's really, I don't know, it's an exciting read in a lot of ways. And that's definitely my impression of it in my mind when I was looking back on it. And I was really excited to read it because of that. But I definitely forgot how many Udanis and Azath dream house realm zones there are. There's almost once a chapter we're going into the dreamscape to like just absorb the words,
Also, can I real quick? I'm gonna jump into the pronunciation nation corner. I'm gonna formally apologize to you all. We've not been on our game for correcting Peter when he says Udanis this episode.
We know it's a losing battle. So.
Yeah, we've given up hope.
Udinas.
It just sounds better my way.
It doesn't.
Sure.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. It super doesn't.
Whatever you say, Petter.
Okay.
India, I'm coming to you for the last scene. That's right. Who do we meet? Atri Pedra, Twilight Yan Tovis. What up? What up? She's in the house.
If you're about to tell me that I have to read her POV more, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
So that's all.
She's absolutely one of those.
She surrendered. She said, "There's too many people. Right? I can't hold this. Fuck it."
And listen, you got to respect the decision.
It seems like a good strat.
That's it.
Oh, so her name's Yan Tovis. Atriprida is her title. Okay.
Yeah, but she goes by Twilight sometimes.
Called Twilight.
I swear to God, if they interchange names with her, I'm not doing it.
Well, you know how Steve do.
That's fact.
Steve get
I don't know. I feel like we're not going to come back
Is she a Lethery person?
at all.
Yes, she is.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, she's a shake person, but it's no big deal.
They're with the Lether people.
Is that real? Is she? You know what? We're done.
That's it, right?
We did it. We're at the end.
Yeah.
I gotta say, we really got this episode was a long one.
It sucked.
Yeah.
That was so long. There was so much to cover. Who knew? Who knew?
But Inge, sit right down. I got a little special. I think, as always, of course, next week we'll read some chapters. Bad outro.
Yep.
Let us know what you think of the show on Gmail and Twitter. We're 10 Very Big Books, both places. And finally, it's the show's coming out at the end of 2020, and I guess we haven't really talked about the pandemic that much on the show. I think we made some glancing references to it a few times early on, but obviously it's been a pretty long and difficult year for most people, and I hope everyone's doing all right, hope everyone's healthy, and I hope everyone's getting by. So I wanted to share some sincere, well wishes.
Yeah, and I would also, while we're on sincereness, doing this show has been a real joy for a lot of reasons, but just to be able to sit down and talk with my friends is a great time, and then to be a part of our wonderful Discord community and talk to the people there about these 10 very big books is just a real delight and a true pleasure, and has really helped make this year not so shitty.
Yeah, and we're glad to have you come on the show proper this year. It's kind of hard to think that last year you weren't really on the show with us.
Here I am.
So,
I also feel sincere.
Nice. Josh, do you?
No.
All right.
I love my friends. And I love the cast.
All acquaintance be forgot and ever brought to
Guys, I have to go. Can we end this? I have lunch at 9:30. 9:30. Stop my recording, Peter. Why are you ignoring me? I need to leave.
Okay, everybody.
See ya. Hello, everybody. Producer AJ here, now with 3 computer monitors. Thank you so much for listening to this episode a day early. Happy last day of the year. We said it on the show, but I just want to say it again here. Thank you all so much for making this year an amazing one. Despite everything going on this year, the show saw a lot of great growth. There was just a huge, great community that sprouted up around this show on the Discord and on our Twitter and everything, and through our Patreon. We're hoping that we can carry this momentum into 2021. Thank you so much for being so incredible. We love you very much. Additionally, keep an eye out on your podcast feeds today for the first episode of a series we are calling Discussions of the Malazan Empire, featuring the works of Ian Cameron Esselmont. We're kicking the series off with Knight of Knives. Special thanks to Iskar Jarek for co-hosting this mini-series with Peter. As always, you can let us know your thoughts about this, all of our other episodes, the Knight of Knives episodes, on our Twitter at 10verybigbooks or via email 10verybigbooks@gmail.com. If you'd like to join the conversation on Discord, you can head on over to bit.ly/VBB Discord and join everyone there. That's capital V, capital B, capital B, capital D Discord. That link will also be in the show notes. Thank you to all of our wonderful patrons over on Patreon. Our numbers are continuing to grow every week, and it's really just amazing to have your support. Thank you all so very much. If you'd like to check out our Patreon, you can visit the link in our show notes or head on over to patreon.com/10verybigbooks. And as always, thank you so very much to Dan Geserick for making our spectacular logo. You can follow him on Twitter at Dan Geserick for a reminder to call your friends and check in every once in a while. And of course, the wonderful music in today's episode is by the one and only Amaranthine from their album Simulant Rain, which you can find along with their other music on bandcamp.com. Links to their pages will be in the show notes, and 10 Very Big Books will be back in 2 weeks on January 15th, 2021 with chapters 16, 17, 18, and 19 of Midnight Tides. Talk to you next year, and thank you so much for listening.
Here are the other Josh Baker nickname suggestions. You ready?
I'll react to each one.
He's getting Jack of a Peter having his hand on overdrive, and he's cunningly taking control of the ship. It's Joshua Dean Baker.
I really thought there were multiple sex jokes in there, and I'm still a little confused.
Yeah, wait, what was the Jack?
He's here to be used and abused like Ubala Pung's special endowment. It's Joshua Dean Baker.
Spank me, daddy? That's all I got for that
one. His body is a temple to Father Shadow. It's Joshua Dean Baker.
I treat it like one, too.
Udonis' best interpreter, Joshua Dean Baker.
Disagree.
He's moneyballing Rulad's waxed over eyes. It's Joshua Dean Baker.
I really think Jonah Hill's performance in that movie is really rock fucking solid.
He's the cunning stunt of this pantheon. It's Joshua Dean Baker.
Again with the word cunning, and I don't understand what this one references.
No, get it?
It's
Cunning
Tehil's
stunt.
favorite chicken, Joshua Dean Baker?
Whose favorite chicken?
Teho.
Oh, okay.
All right. See ya, everybody. Peace.
All right, bye.